Okay, good morning. Thanks for coming. Let's get started. So please go to your translation page 35. We're going to continue the discussions we left last time. Page 35, your translation. And so we're going to read the point, the verse 3 and 4. Verse 3, not having to face the consequences of actions you have not done. If you have not accumulated an action, whether it would give rise to pleasure or pain, you will not experience its consequences. Those who enjoy the fruits of the infinite merits accumulated by the teacher do not have to collect all their causes, but they must at least do their part. And verse 4, or the theme 4. Once committed actions do not fade away. In especially exalted press says, the Brahmins say that virtues and misdeeds can be given away and transferred. But you teach that actions done do not fade away, and actions not done have no consequences. The king of meditative stabilization sutras also says it is impossible not to encounter the results of your deeds, but you want to feel the results of those done by others. The transmission of discipline says, even after hundreds of eons, actions are not exhausted. If they meet with the assembled conditions, then embodied beings will meet with their results. So, remembering the certainty and multiplying nature of karma, then an action not done will not yield no result, and that once done, an action will not fade away, will obstruct all that gives rise to the both of black actions. You must earnestly engage in wide, wholesome actions, and since training in the precious awakening mind is considered to be the principal and supreme virtue, all of them should be part of that training. Lots of maths.
All right. That the counter chitang lojong se the dang some lo la ji dang bo so da lojong ji na lo la jangwa tar jong de chego lo jong de kan chego da dang bo ma zo o dan ju ji ma jong tar so da ngarang zo mugil chi ger mugil te ga zo dewa do da ding ma do tang zo mugil ro tang zo chama de mugil chi ba ye na dewa do ba da ding ma do ba da dewa te la kan de zi yo re na dewa te la nekap ki dewa da thart ki dewa ni shi da dang be jong mo na 다 내급기 대화등 아주 내급이란 거 지금 이반전 농촌 소바 지금 뭐 신디게 통공식들 비싼 거 갈등게 대화도 텔레베 나랑도 소신년의 이 풍어도 등 잘비에 달와등 탐지 김비 공통 먹듯 시기요다 나때 땅 나랑도 그동 치와도 맞추지고 때 타와당 탑지 공방 세트 조처 되다 타와당 탑지 공방 탑을 셰발라 당보원에 티와 야지망도 지워도 종류 탐지 담을 탐만님 지금도 형오동세야지 당보 때는 티와 지워다 도종지고 도종지네 디 도종지 소수돈 하 호종나 때라 양도 상로 당거 당소 등원이 당네 때제 말에 소소생원에 니와니 비고네 로서 소포 종나 어떤 데다 공부 또 공니 다 sem나가데 셰럽지 자위 일కం식 니에바데 니 생비 마질 잠비 당년지 삼바텔라 영디영 마지바 sem바텔라 공식으로 어떻게 공투와야 아니 내리 동어마 지 파쇼데 딱시 때 비고네 마노라지 니에도 주다 띵원도 서크세스 진에 소 원도 기로지고 거 된차다 아니 다디 원도 기로고 소 텔라테네 니 실락 당연히 토병을 쏟tel라 때네 신정대 와서 리승대 와서 때문에 아니 람기 통파질라키네 아니 로코네 공도 공도 손에 근데 아주 지금 차담 그 차도 정말 많이 냠지 근데 샴냠지 동 세력을 차대야 오늘 페이지용 니와져서 차로 단다 템제 니와져 차월 셰피 니와트 마로도 단다 미 리튼데라 요르스보다 대차다는 아주 리튼데 단주니 리트 사천보레 시고 사천보이 마시고 자 첨부를 했는데 결혼 요거지인데 배추 요거 딱 마트와이나 때 지기 나와래 지기 나와봐 가져졌다 근데 저와 이전에 남친님이래 드지다 이때요 말이지 아니 띠인자다 아니 게득 리셋 저 시소나 가는 거 교시만도 그래 교시만도나 친절라 저저 토마마반에 집이 리비가 띠 게득 띠기 지스당네 아니 좀 데득 소라용네 교환된 그래 드셔 대자다 때껴 레버셔바데 따껴와시마 요동 메세트 상동이다 범절수도 리자체 모임 바텔라테네 남수도 되고 용토와 텔라테네 지켜와시마도 요동 메세트 지켜와시마 요나 따껴와시마 용나가 미 멋진데라 깔리 잡니 가르는 노르 농초 리 농초 천년 적동정 요나 엉니 의차빈이 못되네 다당가도 멋진데 리더 당 카트네 남시도 포를 수도 네 아니 지금 뒤냠데 용큰 쓰요르잖아 어떤 렌디 가능성을 간 레정이 오대 레정 남바당지 레정보대 대냠대 용거를 리당 좀 되지 좀 나와 좀 나와 바로 좀 가서 그만 손을 가서지는 시험도 때문에 냠대 용거를 스텐자다 치키 셈라 때네 게득은 리오 몽부서가 좀 치키 셈라 때네 강라 세타나 때텔라 때네 리오 방거에서 좋으네 아주 적당히 몽부 사회로 몽부 여기 위해서 먹기 위해서 통한 거는 몽부 사가지고 있는 치키 셈텔라 게슴 중문 뒤 시트와이나 기위섬 사원질라 세다 거기는 교수마 인디올라 때리 지금 교와야 보동 지치라 그래서 좀 받는 거였어. 아니 시카 공포동 수업 때 시험 근이랑 쉐나 교와 세들라 지 야고 지원을 교수마 시카들 교와마 리마기빌레 세다 와자 사원도 봐 답사데 사시간라 사원도 비자다면서 교수마 같이 그랬어. 어쨌든 아주 시키서 같이 모르고 때자다시 다이 안에 지금 예득 소라만 보던 아주 용고랑 아주 용고를 간다지 영화를 해서도 다산이 좀 내질라 진이 용고 따다다데 셰 네비가 남성 등을 대바 근종대 바 모든 남든지 뜻이고 때자다 아니 등을 대바세 등을 모두 등을 간다 요래 등을 강내 영화를 등을 그런 거 아니 지위 근종대 바디 영화를 근종대 바디 가르즈나 리당 용문 일이지 아니 요모 원거 동국사위 당든지 당정강의 차당 공원을 때는 레설리 디 남만나 때는 저좀 종원사 뒤에 때는 등의 정도를 아니 예를 홍보도 나올 홍보도 종용을 때를 때는 등을 홍보도 가지고 좀 용거를 해서 그런데 기회다 대자다 네트근 남석들 근종 집이 남석들 시험 나 때는 등을 뜻다 못하는 가지고 용내 내고를 해서 때는 탈에 탈와지 요를 해서 탈에 탈와지 요를 강해서 네비 용큰 그 조티 긴로다 남시기 긴들 네 로요레스 남시기 긴텔라 때네 남시트 강라 때네 tel라 때네 풍공하고 너지 초바 초용을 때라 때네 네비 그냥 남시 긴터바 공이 공편을 로나 탈산지 있어왔던 로트바 요레스 아니 때 로어 때다 고든세 고레 타와 tum지 터비 콤보트바 타트겠다 요레 긴 체크 말해 가지고 산에 매와 시송나 매와 체크를 체크 말해 남시기 긴들 로레스 때 로엔센터 성지지 사왔던 로트거든 로아텔라 또야 공패도 동네 남식 이긴데 야 산에서 공패도 공부서 남식 삼 남식 샘송 듣자도 참마 매화존이 정마존이 남식 샘송 정보도 샘정보도 참마 원도 이제 토이나 어때 때때라 지식이 름바텔 람기를 봐서 람데 치고 또 람기를 봐서 다 요는 게 차다 어디서 가서 샘도 공패도 송나 샘 공패도 탁상이 지워서 좋아요 그래서 지기 차도 탐지 세당다 말이지 야 송송에 마켓진 메뉴 어떤 나지는 대시요 저당 린디가 남정도 셔니다 린디가 남정도 시험 좀 돌아 린디가 동용도 셔다 단단한 것도 와 대지지 말 캡다 그러더라 대지다 정도 로종진이 다 대원 년당 지금 많이 다 영어 저런 데 용건을 남는 소리 가시다가 가시 연구도 더 잡으려면 년 소소지 펜토하려나 렌다 팔만 도와는 이렇게 자서 막 그런 거더라 오늘 저 냠는 지고서는 등이 그때 시든 넘치라 공격 우선나 됐다 시규 당고 단줄 멀리니 좀 됐다 지금 대지랑들을 봐 삼동을 삼동아이나 샘동링이와 아니 그때 삼동 때 삼동 당나 때 참고 됐다 등은 때려서 니와 니주 되니다 셔럽지 니비 돈 되니 잠비 점스니다 뜨고물 잠비 맞아봐 진짜 점제선 섬나 안에 천농 나와도 좋아하는 용도 그때자 좋았던 용도 딱 버려서 맞춰 제대로지
Hi, again, thank you for coming. It's good to have you and continue the conversation we have had last time. So obviously, you all recall, that we are still working on the subject matter. It's technically called the training of the mind. Training of the mind. Here we got the mind. And we got a task for the mind that is training. So that means we are here have a clear purpose. We have a goal, and our goal is to get our mind be trained. And based on the understanding that this mind and so far is still spiritually speaking that hasn't been trained yet. So we come in and to learn and try to understand the mind through the teachings of mind training, and then to ultimately achieve our fundamental sort of goal of life, that is the happiness, and to achieve the happiness or to overcome the sufferings. And right now, our basic conditions is that we have obtained this human body, and that human body is the result of or the productions of contaminated karma. So it's called the aggregates of contaminated karma. And so for that, because of this, it's so it's contaminated, or the result of contaminated karma. So therefore, we have this naturally have the sense of or our experience and throughout the repeatedly and tells us that we are subject to, or we've been sort of bound upon to the all kind of the sensational experiences, and so these sensibilities and give us so much the desire for and the happiness, and then to try and sort of force us to try our very best to avoid the suffering and the causes of suffering. So this is the reality, and this is our empirical and experience, and we don't need further evidence to support this statement, or as described in the Buddhist literature. It is obvious. So once you know that, but you have to sort of consciously accept this reality, and then think about what you need to do, what we can do about it. And So when you really see this result, reality as it is, then the only way for us is to do something about it is like the Jirinpoche Lama Tsongkhapa and taught us that first of all we have to searching for the knowledge extensively or broadly. We have to set out and start researching the knowledge, spiritual knowledge, or the knowledge of the enlightenment broadly, extensively. And then we have to carefully and critically, analytically, to examine the validity, the soundness, of the effectiveness of those knowledge and we have heard. And so finally, so through the process of collecting the information, the hear and enough spiritual teachings, and then you sort of refine and determine the validity of it. And once you reach the point where you're so sure about that very idea or the technique, the method is indeed can be used to address the suffering that you're experiencing, and even to vanish or to eliminate the causes of suffering. So you after you reach this point of certainty, then you need to focus on or turn all your attentions inwardly, and focus on that very wisdom, the wisdom that understands the actuality, the wisdom that cut off the suffering and causes of suffering. So that actuality, in other words, is the phenomenon is devoid of inherent existence from a person, and the individuality, the identities of individuality, and the ontological nature of all phenomena. So you see this through your from your study and collecting information and your investigation, your careful, critical investigation, and you really understood and the subtle and this philosophical point or the technique which we call the wisdom. Then all you need is just like Jirinpoche Lama Tsongkhapa says, meditate on that day and night. So and here is very important. So find the information, seeking for the information, and investigate the information, and then gain the certainty of that the validity of the information, and then meditate on that very crucial key instruction or the point. And then once and that's what we call the wisdom. So and then the view, the philosophical view, right? And that free you from the confusions, and then you need, once you repeatedly back to that very crucial point which you determined, you already theoretically you gained certainty, and you know that's very convincing. Then you need to meditate and again on that. And this repetition of the meditative practice will give you help you to gain some kind of clarity, right? Give you the clear sense of clarity. Now you see this viewpoint is much more profound and clear, so this and this process of back to this point and of a meditative state of concentration based upon and that viewpoint and the wisdom in it will not only give you the help you to gain the clarity, the philosophical clarity, but also will help you to gain what we call the the physical pliancy as well as the mental pliancy. So meaning that both the greater flexibility at the physical body level as well as the mental level. So then this combination. So then then eventually you will gain this combined state of realization. So the combined state of realization, that is the combination of spatial insight and the stability. So stabilization of the mind and the spatial insight, when they are combined and formed as a one and serve as and function as jointly, then what happens is what are the results you can experience is that your attachment to this physical world and to your false identity and as well as your aversion or any form of rejections, dislikeness, and frustrations and dissatisfaction. All these things will be clearly wiped out. As a result of this, and you will develop the compassion, loving kindness. Right? In other words, your sense of attached to a certain earthly or worldly phenomena and or the rejection of the worldly or diluted phenomena now is being replaced by the wisdom and kindness and compassion. So this is then of course at this point, of course, you achieve the goal of your mind training, right? So this is the where you will experience the great and fundamental spiritual transformation. Well, yeah. So to reach the again, we have to begin and start something at a very fundamental level. That is. By understanding our fundamental, the essential desire, that is to achieve the happiness, to free from the sufferings, and then so what do? Is we gotta take action. So we need a move, so the very first action in this particular training of the mind is that we need to recognize the form of body we achieved in this lifetime. In other words, we have obtained here now, and that is which we call the precious human rebirth, endowed with 8 freedom and 10 advantages. So we need to recognize that clearly, and then once we like we talked about this on this point before, and after we recognize that, then we need to focus on we are so fortunate to have obtained successfully and obtained this body now, but this body is the result of my virtuous action, the karma, the positive karma that I have accumulated in the previous lifetime. And so I needed to use it and to take a great advantage of it. And otherwise, after I die, there's no certainty. I'm not sure that what's going to be happen. Whether I can really right now I am in charge of this physical precious human body, which I obtain, but. What happened after life? I may or may not can have the same fortune to gain such a precious, useful, powerful the body. So think about this, and it will lead to you, of course, the afterlife, the questions of afterlife, right? So what then? we needed to open this very question. Yes, so I need to take advantage of my the precious human body we receive it, and I need, otherwise after I die, then I'm not sure whether I will obtain the same body or not. But at this very point, you have to question yourself: is there such thing called life after? Is there life after death? So you need to think about it, right? So we have no question about it now, here, who we are and our experience of the human life. But once our last breath become air, meaning that once the continuity of the breath has been cut off, then we are in next world. Okay, when our experience of the existence or living will be completely different. That's why, in this very text that we're talking about earlier, and we're going to talk more about today, is that so the only thing will follow you, right, after you die is you obviously can't take anything, including your body, but what follows you is the karmical the influence or the accumulation of your own karma. That karma is like the shadow of your body and the body relationship between the whatever the karma you accumulated between you and your next life is just like the relationship between your body and the shadows of your body. And here I'd like to mention, I mentioned the critical teachings which we discussed in previous occasion. That is, so when you towards the last phase of our death, it is very important for you to remember that you must have a very calm, peaceful, and virtuous mind. In other words, try to experiencing something all on the wholesome, on something virtual, and then hold on to that mind, and then let that mind and lead you and take you to the life after and stages of life after experience. That is Bardo, and because if you fail to do so, and either you randomly and kind of unconsciously and unpurposefully and died unpurposefully or unconsciously or unclearly. Or, in the worst case scenario, you die with the anger, disappointment, or some kind of strong attachment, then that because the last moment of your death, the thoughts of the thought that you experience the last moment of your death is so powerful, it's a decisive, and it is a decisive, has a decisive force. So therefore, it's just like the seeds. The seeds you plant in the ground, whatever the seeds you plant in the last minutes and on the ground of your consciousness, and we wake up next moment and will forming the fruits accordingly. So therefore, it is for the spiritual practitioners like us, it is very important for us to pay close attention and also get ourselves mind trained in this very important spiritual point. Because that's how we, that's also the one way to secure, to ensure that we will obtain the precious human rebirth after dying. And so, yes, when you think about a life after or not, and there is a such thing called life after or not, and you needed to do all kinds of investigation and think this matter and through. And to make have a very clear understanding, right? Because this is going to be very helpful once you fully develop a firm and understanding about life after. Then, so then it would be very beneficial for you to fully appreciate the foundations of Buddhist teaching. That is the Four Noble Truths. Okay. So the Four Noble Truths, meaning that once you understand this, the life after, the existence of life after, and then it will help you to understand why the Four Noble Truths. The first noble truth of is the noble truth of suffering or dukkha, right? And then further will help you to understand or see the connections between the form of sufferings you experience now and its causes. In other words, it would help you to understand the second noble truth of the Niruddha, okay, or the causes of the suffering. And the causes of suffering here is mainly as a twofold. One is karma, another is afflictive emotion. In other words, so the reason you experience the suffering or any form of dukkha is because of the karma and because of the afflictive emotion. But then what is why this karma is there and the afflictive emotion is there? And so to answer this question, we know that we accumulate the karma and then we experience the afflictive emotions because we have this so innate grasping at self of person. So the innate grasping at the self of person. In other words, we have attached to, we have the strong attachment to the self. There's a false selfhood, the false and misperception of self-identity, our self. Because this misperception of the false self-identity or selfhood, and then we began to experience the afflictive emotion, and thereby the karma is being accumulated, and then then later on we have to experience the experience of the karma. So in other words, you have this grasping at the self of person, right? And then as a response to this grasping at the self of person, and you will experience attachment and aversion. And then because of this, and then you can receive this contaminated form of a body, or the body as a result of a contaminated the karma. And then obviously, so once you receive this contaminated the body, which is the result of contaminated karma action, and you are subjected to experience all kind of temporary pleasure and temporary sufferings. And so yes, at this point, right? And so you got to kind of have a sense of this is really something awful, and you want to stop it from its continuity. So then what? The next question is that you have to approach is that the third noble truth. That is a noble truth of cessation. And noble truth of cessation is the point where you're completely able to cut off yourself and from the both karma and the afflictive emotions. And that is the state of nirvana, a state of the ultimate peace. So the third noble truth again, is the result, right? It's the outcome of something, and that leads when you think about what can enable me to reach this point of the noble truth of cessation, and then naturally your quest for this answer will lead you to the fourth noble truth, the fourth noble truth, noble truth of Magga, or the path. And so noble truth of Magga, or the path, and obviously is the essence of the training which we're talking about now. We have been discussing this repeatedly. So the path and the reason, and we want to train ourselves and sort of put in a very simple term. That is because in our mind, and we have this positive set of a mind, and we have the negative set of a mind. Our job is to recognize the fourth noble truth of a path, that is understand, recognize, identify the positive sets of the mind, or mental factors, and at the same time also identify and recognize and the negative the sets of the mind, and then engaging in all kinds of techniques, step by step, and to improve, to develop, enhance the strength of our positive mind, and to maximize its the virtuous quality. At the same time, to eliminate or vanish the negative the sets of the mind. So this practice will lead us eventually from the sort of a fundamental level and to reach the developed or progressed and the stage of realization, and then finally will lead us to the attainment of the state of enlightenment. And so that's the perfection of fourth noble truth of the path. And so this is training is if both your experience and the critical philosophical analysis and your inquiry would tell you it is possible, because once you train the mind and to develop the positive spiritual quality of your mind, so you can improve and you can bring this very practice yourself, and through this practice to something that's infinite, something that's limitless. By contrast, if you train your physical body and improve your physical ability and bodily flexibility and other qualities, you can make a great improvement, and you can achieve some kind of reasonably great result, but it has limitations. By contrast, if you train your mind, experience based on your experience and improve it, and the path, noble path of the fourth noble path of the truth, and then you would see how it is beneficial and how effective they are. So anyway, I said a whole lot of things, but the point and I'm trying to make is that, like at the beginning, I said you are here because you are here. Naturally, you become the part of our discussion of training of the mind or mind training. And so what that means is that you are here trying to understand something that you can practice, something you can implement in, and you can bring it to your, or upload it sort of your unconsciousness, and to support you and to make to improve the qualities of your life, and spiritually speaking, of course, to help you to attain the enlightenment. And for those of you, you are serious about, you do believe, you even have the experience or see and list in theory the question about life after, and you also have a great respect or appreciation of the law of causality and the reincarnations and the possibilities to attain enlightenment, then you are the one who has to really seriously meditate and thinking again and meditate on this a series of trainings of the mind. Started with by meditating on the precious human rebirth, or the great value of precious human rebirth, and then all the way and to think about the karma and the reincarnation and so on and so forth. Yes. So for those of you, and maybe some of you still have a doubt about it, and you're still not sure, and that's okay. And so you probably still on the stage of developing, seeking for the informations, and but again, so in any case, they're open to and the discussion and it's critical and be critical and careful. Examine the whatever you have heard, and so for both of us, either you are a serious committed practitioner or the seekers of the spiritual information or knowledge, we all have to do one very important thing. That is, we have to memorizing, we have to be mindful, remember. And we have to remember the crucial teachings and instructions we have to learn. We have learned. We have to repeatedly and reflect upon that to reinforce our so to recall that and then this information and make sure we never forgot it. Oh yeah. So now we're going to read the fourth. Yes. So the fourth the topic, and that is on the page 36. It says the drawbacks of a cyclic existence. The disadvantages of uncertainty. In cyclic existence, relationships with friends and enemies are very changeable. Things of this world are not at all reliable. They are miserable. The friendly letter says, your father becomes your son, your mother your wife, and your enemies become friends. The opposite also takes place. Therefore, in cyclic existence, there is no certainty at all. The queens of Subbahu Sutra says, at the times enemies turn out to be friends, and similarly friends turn into foes. Likewise, anyone can become your father or mother, and even your parents can become your foes. Because friendship is changeable like this, the intelligent zone attachment. The misconceived thought that relations are pleasant is replaced by the joy of engaging in virtue. Yeah, we'll do one more paragraph on topic. The disadvantages of dissatisfaction. The friend letter says, each individual has drunk more milk than the 4 great oceans. Yet, in the ordinary person's continuing cyclic existence, there is still more to be drunk. The point can be taken from this. The same text says, understand attachment to objects of desire as being like a leper seeking for comfort when tormented by Mongols. He sits by the fire, but finds no relief. Condensed perfection of Wisdom Sutra says, obtaining everything you desire and consuming much on a daily basis, yet still to be dissatisfied is the greatest disease. So there is no satisfaction in sensual pleasure, and if you think especially about what is taught in the sutra on avoiding error, you will feel great concern. It says, the water in the ocean bears no comparison with the molten copper you have drunk again and again in hell. The amount of filth you have eaten when you were born as a pig or dog would be much greater than Meru, the king of mountains. As a vessel for all the tears you have shed when parted from friends and relatives in cyclic existence, the ocean would not be big enough. If all the heads cut off in the course of mature conflicts were to be piled up, the heap would reach beyond the realm of Brahma. Born many times as a famished worm, the amount of earth and the dawn you have eaten would fill the great ocean of milk right up to the brim. So, as explained, however, much worldly wealth you acquire, it is nothing but subjugation. You should feel apprehensive, thinking of how the same could happen to you if you do not make a further effort. In the words of the spiritual friends Sampoa, from the first, you must face so many ups and downs here in cyclic existence, but nothing worthwhile. Think about this until you are convinced.
소년의 배송소 뭐 창직이 나와서 그런 거 라좀바티 원시요 저교함이 다 뭐창디 로지로 지그지그 소전에 그런 배 세맥교네네 파샤사상 말라다 띵도 본도 농세 코리니를 니와 만치소 이제 코리니를 딱 니와다 지가 만도 이제 딱 거기서나 다당아도 체들라 배쇼 차파지 소소 년진이 저와서 지마 배다 저로요를 다 딱게 파는 배결세트서 그 강즈나 뭐창텔라네 남이 자청스 먹고 빨라티 본라 보비지 좀제네 다 그저 남이 쓰고 근데 남텔라 빨라티 냐샤사니다 근데 자 어들라 치지요 치티그티 냐샤르 냐게 샤사게 받 치들레테 치티그티 받 사네티도 코로나 좀 받기 원시기 파 경험이 되면 청도 로기로 좀서 근데 그런 거 공부를 옆에 버터 그런 거 경험하면 어디 교환하면 그런 거 김이 그 가오지 그랬어. 가오도 군이 라차니 때 김모도 군이 김이 듣자네. 그런 거 김이 가오도 세. 세 잔데 김이라 가오도 세다 세비치는 그 시간대 샘도 그런 거 때 김을 잡아요. 제와요. 저되게 잡아 뛰어간 거 아니. 그런 거 뺏기. 뺏긴다 그런 거 뻗다 그런 거 뺏으니. 년도 정도. 보면 경험하면 그거 라진 세다 줄다. 때 뛰어들었다 그거 뻗쳐. 년도 정도. 다다다 냐샤사고는 냐한테 야고나 초주 초되는 그 바라한테 보면은 냐 초디는 냐정 게就是 냐정 내가 되는 뭐지 교와도 마냐 그 초하게 되게 비파몽고 사람이 레사람이 마세 디가 초되는 딱그 초하자서로 되서 샘들을 차지 이제 마신이 디는 냐교는 교몽불들 교양요 교양요 되게 좀들 지리 딱그 바티디오 나면 뒤중으로서 마트 능들을 차지네 샘때다 농민들의 차지니 미개월에 맡아지는데 치개월에 네 맞상대 치개월에 치도 말스 다다 냐티기 샤사를 빠사는데 다 교하마지나 뜻이 자청 냐게 개월에 그때다 치개월에 그때 자청 그 파만 얘기 들었어 어떤 인디그 사무당에다 직팅 코로하겠다 지금 내 땅으로데 라닝 그 잡을세야 그 또던년세 또 정말 요요 말에 쓰시고 다때 정말 용사때 지금 띠리 림리게 남자 어쩌와 생각 당도 리브르가 남자 때문에 교환 랭그 뜻이고 다때 동으로 와 진짜다 알아서 지금 다가서 답아서 지고 답아제 될라 몽테지니 펜동으로 때지 지리 답아서 성직은 되게 맞지 답아들라 임슨 통이 답아지 정네 임슨 통이 답아들라 아니 때도 병원에 좀 답아지서 이때라 때디 요든지 토고도 누문도 요런데 토부자지 요나때 나랑라 토고도 세 원토지 다 뜨니 장고고지 다 임슨 통이 답아지 올세 빨라 다 리피 딱시 당와라 임슨 섬고니 당고서 다라 선지 좀 되게 석재대회 세진다 라버터랑 아이까지 석재대회 세진다 꼴증하고 원섬도 통지 봐지고 뭐그 통이 어디지 탁주 통고 주고 베나다데 가도 세월 세 등의 뭐그 다니 고타 세월 세 타서 처음에 처음에 때라 민지지고 또 원섬 통화 원섬 지참이 뭐 봐봐但이와데 지방사배 당시다 지방사만 이진지라 때니 다 리오사 달로그 사원데라 상와도 소마 네 답잖아 로지마텔라 네기 이바 때 챌린지로 소미데 이치지고 지고 샤와도 듣고 뜻좀데 뜻나 네기 요한테 간시고 지방 참았지요 임진지라 때니 사델라 때는 저 사원데지 다와나 텔라 칠로 초베 조셔 수족과 사원 딩엘이 이기텔라 아니 그 한지시기 이지 정말 전화될 사원 종지 막 무슨 이 주승리스 그거 잘라는 데 종아이다 뜻이 박참았어 딱 그렇지 이시 집어서 이시 집어서야 돼 때들지 다 소소라니 그 타주 타고요 막 연적강한테 타주고 막这个写지졌던 이치지 하시고 강성 소소 이치지 강성 그 때는 뭐 때는 이치지 때는 타주 가지고 또 이치 참아서 딱 때는 알아서 꼴좀 시험부터 리비가 나서 calcium 잡아다 가지고 소소 오늘 뭐 뽑았다 그랬다 선지 좀 되는데 그런 때는 실종하는 양용 용화도 가지고 잡을 때 킬린지 제가는 이치지 뭐딱 배낭 알아서 미치 개월나 기나 영화 나왔는데 챈데 뒤쳐들어서 기회라서나 등이 기와 등이 하고 말이나 딱 이거 이치지는 디카트 마바가 토기하고는 파마가 내용도 들으지 이치지 뽕에 기체들 때가도 송수지고 어때 딱요 잠바 지금 나라 때니 이치지 타고 어때 선보라 때니 딱치지니 딱 타주지고 때 타주지는 셈마 타 초송마 딱 때라 때려 딱 때문에 이치지 다바 셈당데 타주 이치지 다바요 이치지 다바 jel라 끼오노 때네 땅원에 레비세스인데 두고 때치인데 게데 그 소라세야 데데 그 소라세야 지금 게데 그 셈
It's 11 o'clock.
셈이 정말이 좀 요바데 이치지나 안에 소소랑 지금 셈농라 지금 임디가 랑토를 제발라 때라 좋아지야 때리가 셈강은 지금 처음 딱 공부하다 수밖에 왔으면 아실로 수밖에 랑랑랑 진짜 파 용토하지 버렸어. 다 뒤지는 안에 어떤 산지지 공공사에서 토비 힘들면 돼서 토바 요벌 이치나 때 토바데 산지 좀 된데서 했던 로니 동아비 하는 데서 포트데 자동 토브네. 다다다된 노다는 포트 야하스 그디나 로디 차상요. 뒤때는 이제 소소라 토비 요한테 산좀도 그런 거 송을 그래서 네 결혼도 로지야 돼. 결혼도 받는 게 나빨래 타고 뭐 그 책이 티트고 말해서 그거 있잖아. 네 나는 뭐 도중지죠. 도중 때 결혼 도중지라 그런 등들이 타고 왔다 때 그걸 다 어떠세요? 따뜻 빈총 가르치겠나? 베나 미카시스가 선지 탐지 캠바를 땅아도 나랑 참나 참도 샤고 선지 탐지 캠바를 꼭 오늘 정내 되지네. 다 탐지 캠바 탐지시를 매매 루지는 아주 당 가르치는 등등 용어들 로마체에서 좋아요. 좋아. 또지 탐지 캠바에 값선 바가 나나. 바깥다고 한번 기와가지고 원정 초지 틀리듯 잘라 맞다 동이 정사 매적이 근데 또 송을 뜨가르는 표나 선지 좀 된데 표안이 선지 뜬디가 선지 지동 탐바송의 뒤넘는 선지 좀 된데 남들 식자 도와줘 배바마 가로도 홍파주니 들리죠 가르친 다는 아주 등을 섬진다 탐지 하도 가르치니 이나 선지 좀 된데 그런 거 니와 말이지 바깥도 뭐 원정 초지 틀리듯 잘라 몽고 하다 도 가지고 가르치니 어때 등 이와 등 하는 거 경우에 비나지네 다 비나지가 gen지가 비나 롱과 통통랑 가정만 지시 동습지라 미지 담자지네 오 당니 동습되기는 미 참아 이문을 잔님 좀 정말 키워서 주고 잡지네 그런 무일 때는 키는 송이 그런 소중지네 깔리 잡잡네 소중 토르지네 토름도 차종 탈심이지 동습들 나와이나 어떤 코로나 이기도 하게 니와 차종 코로 요래 탈심다 얘는 동습되기 미 참아고 코가 집진도 좀니 킬린진 소중지에나 그런 돈이 연대 처마때로 톡톡이요. 때 마정 아니. 때 그냥 톡 말와. 밑에 연대 요 니와 요다. 되게 니와도 배쳐 담고 막. 때 장가도 정문정 파쇼고 조직에 그 공습되라고. 때 상로 당나다 오다 오늘 정에 쓰는 semao dong ne so ni ge ji wu de san yi lam dun ji zhou de so mi lin ji so de lam de shi lu de wa ji wu de so ni ge ji wa de da semao mi wa ni ge o de sam dong ne yo yo si
Well, I think we don't need to explain those two chapters we just read because it is very clear and it explains in the very plain language. There's no much there are no many sophisticated philosophical terms there. What I like to sort of pinpoint and the most important thing and here is that it seems to me, at least appears to me, is that so once you accept this the unsatisfactory and nature of the samsaric existence, right? And then when you examine what's really going on, the true status of our day-to-day life experiences, you will really come to fully agree and with what the text just taught, right? The uncertainty of your life in your life. This uncertainty is absolutely is undeniable fact, right? Uncertainty in the sense that, like the text says about friendship and the enemy. So, what is friends? Who are friends? Who are enemy? There's no really certainty at all. And so, whatever the relationship, the life experiences you are experiences so far, and which is basically is about the acceptance and the rejection. So, in other words, is things you attach to and based upon your experience of attachment, and then you form some kind of idea or drawn to some kind of conclusion that that is cool, that's great, but for God, it is great, it is cool, is because of that is the manifestation of your own attachment, right? At the same time, and you find something is rejectable, and it's the unpleasant, and again, that's you think it's objectively is there and by itself, come alone, and without any sort of cause involved. And but when you're looking down, when you're looking carefully and examine it, you will see and that very object of a rejectable object or the dislikeness and the whatever the person or event or thing, and again it's come from your own. It is your mental experience. Right? It's derived from your own mind, and that is the result of your aversion, but not objectively there. One of the things is here says, this changeable, unstable, and uncertainty of the relationship in terms of the family in the samsaric existence. It's said that the father and the son and can be right, and one way is sort of father son, and another can be the enemy, right, and or the wife, and it can be the mother as a wife, and so on and so forth. This is just part of the samsaric reality, and that's reflect or indicates that how uncertain and the relationship in samsara and samsaric existence. One of the stories which I remember from Buddhist the sutra, and once upon that there was a arahat in back in ancient India, of course, because that individual is arahat, meaning he is a highly achieved or realized person, and he has a clairvoyance. And so, or ESP, one day, and this arahat, at the time of the time of the begging for the alarm or the food, and he entered a family and a household. So, and to his amazement, and he find that he see the scenario and amazed him so much. From what he can see from his clairvoyance, or he has the things appear into him, is that in the family is so a father, and there's three persons in the home in that family, and the wife, a husband, and a son, three of them there. And what they're doing is that they are having meal, and there's dog. There's a third one is a dog. So they are having meal and they're eating. The father is eating a fish, right? And then so he threw the bone and the portion leftovers and to the dog, and the dog pick up and those leftover the fish and bone and eat it. And the son and which sit on the arm of the wife, the house, it appears to that arahat is actually was the enemy of his present her present life's husband. The reason, and that boy is born to the one thing happened before this boy was born to this family is in the previous lifetime, and this man and currently is a boy, they are enemies. Okay. And the boy actually was killed by the father in present lifetime, in his father. The reason he killed his the boy's previous life man is because they were fighting over a woman, a beautiful woman, and they had engaged in serious fire, and they're fighting over to win the heart of this woman, and then in result, so the man got killed after he died, and because his attachment to that woman currently is that boy's mother, and he born and into this family. So now what happens in the relationship here? So previously, the two men was a serious enemy, and even the one got killed. But that dead person, it turns out, in this lifetime, become his son, right? And then they become the father and the son relationship. And the mother is what happens. The fish here. The fish is actually was his father. Okay, the very fish that son, that family is eating, turns out was the son's father. He was a fisherman in previous lifetime, because he fishing and working as a fisherman and throughout his life, and he attached to the water and a strong attachment to fisherman and the fish, the flesh of fish. And then after he died, and he become the fish, and then now be caught by his own son, and now his son is eating up his own father's flesh. And then the dog, the very dog that is there, who eats the bones and left over the fish and threw to the dog by the son, the man of the householder, actually was previously was the mother, and the man's mother, the householder's mother, the man. So, and upon to see this very tragical and laughable and relationship, and how they become as a family, or in living same together, and then that our heart feels so moved, and it feels that the samsaric existence is absolutely has no any meaning or any qualities, and then the one can be considered is pleasant or wonderful. So anyway, and through this story, right, a mother, a previous lifetime a mother become a dog, previous lifetime father become a fish, and the previous lifetime the friendship and the enemy, the relationship between two men was enemy, now become a son and a father, and all this thing, it tells us teaches us one vertical message of the Buddhist spiritual key belief, that is not just uncertainty. Okay, samsara is uncertain, and there's nothing uncertain. Nothing certain is uncertain. At the same time, also teaches us the law of cause effect. Right? Law of cause effect. Indeed, so as a part of our mental mind training, and so we do have to have develop based upon this kind of stories and this kind of studies investigation, and we do need to develop a faith, and a faith in cause and effect. By no means in the Buddhism, we should never make any room for superstitions, meaning that you believe something, there's no any meaning, there's no any reasoning, and there's no any evidence, nothing can support it, but it just sort of you believe it. That's not acceptable in Buddhist tradition, but rather we have to have a faith based upon clear understanding, or this based upon the clear realization of the qualities, the spiritual qualities or spiritual attainment. Then, and we develop the faith that we ourselves also wanted to obtain it. Right? First of all, and we see the quality, and then have a faith in that quality, and then and then we need to develop the faith. The second form of faith that is we wanted to transform that very quality and let it become our own experience. So we do need these two forms of faith. And so the way to do it again, it requires us to deal with engage in a serious practice. The practice is investigation. Part of the practice is the serious practice is investigation. The way we investigate is like a Buddha can authorize us and actually encourage us to find out the ultimate reality by the three through the methodology of the three. The mode of the three steps of investigation. So the three steps of the investigation or exam, that first of all, just like the way a blacksmith man who testing or examine the qualities of gold, meaning that burn it, cut it, and scratch it. So similarly here, our object of training the investigation is a Buddhist study, is Buddha's own teaching. So where we need to go through the three, apply the three valid combination. So first valid combination is obvious, right? Something is apparent, something is obvious. We can't deny. So that is in other words called the direct valid combination. And so we. And then yes, we still have to stay and respond to that direct valid combination because it is fact. And secondly, and there are the phenomena which is sort of hidden or obscured by its nature. We do need to refer to or rely on the referential valid combination. Referential valid combination, meaning we have to, right, through the process of all the reasonings and the evidence and to infer and to draw the correct conclusion. And then we need to rely on, stay with it, with that very the inferential valid combination. And to support our the actions and our thoughts. And then lastly, and there are things which are very subtle and very obscure, and we just can't really apply any our experience, right? Our experiences will not working, and even the inferential valid combination also cannot address that very object clearly and or correctly. At this point, we do need to rely on what we call the valid combination of faith, right? A faith-based valid combination. And that is means that we need to rely on and a great teacher such as like a Buddha, and so refer to what he say and then make decisions based on our understanding of what the Buddha have been clearly told us. So these are the these are the processes, and we do need to remember. And then I lost my notes. Thank you.
이 바로 된다 왔다 때 아주 배나 성기가 연든 조대가 성기가 맞을라 지금 팬통에서 밑에 제 맞대. 그때 안에 성기 이치 답아들잖아. 안 창조하는 거 이치 창조가 나오지 들리지.
Yes. So you might sometimes wonder, and the how reliable and valid let's say the valid combination of the spiritual the scripture or the authoritative figures' words, right? The validity of yes, when you have the doubt about the validity of the reliability of the spiritual the teacher, such as Buddha, and then the way you need to overcome this doubt is like, for example, and there are individuals and in the world who really speak truthfully and or who speak only truth. For example, like you're born, right, and you are here, so you celebrate your birthday, right, and you have no question about it, and but how you know you were born in that day and that moment, right? And who knows, right? You don't know. You have no idea. Right, because you don't remember, and you have no clue. However, because your parents told you, right, at this point to celebrate your birthday, truly believe you were born that day, you are now relying on the 100% rely on the authoritative figure or the authoritative sort of a scriptural and knowledge or words that is your parents' words, your parents' whatever your parents told you. So similarly, and when we encountering or have to deal with the subtle matters or the topics such as the law of karma and or the functionalities of the law of karma, and when we, in other words, whenever we feel that we can apply our personal experience, and also, we see the whatever the way how you inference, right, or your inferential valid combination also cannot apply to that inapplicable and cannot address that very object. And because it's so subtle, so it's very much hidden in nature. So therefore, and the way to have a faith in that very object is to rely on or depend on the scripture knowledge or authoritative figure, such as in this particular case is Buddha himself. So now I would like you take a question.